This is Monkey World in Dorset, the largest ape and monkey rescue centre on the planet. Today on Monkey Life, resident capuchin TJ joins the new monkey male arrivals, but he's looking for trouble.
Not keen on this. I think he's about to start a fight. Look at him, he's just desperate to start a fight.
A couple of old friends fall out and Paddy has to step in before it gets nasty. And in Hananya's house, it's teeth cleaning time.
Obviously, their first reaction is to want to grab the toothbrush.
Monkey World's capuchin population has radically grown from 4 to a massive 94. Most have come from a research laboratory in Chile, and many lived in solitary confinement. Over the last few days, the park has been integrating the Chilean capuchins into social groups, males with males and females with females. It's been a very ambitious task. One of the park's original 4 capuchins, Tom, has already moved in with the Chilean boys. And today, his old pals Gizmo and TJ are joining them.
Yeah.
TJ has walked straight into his new home and seems calm, but Alison is concerned for Gizmo.
The only individual that's causing a fuss right now is Gizmo because he just doesn't know what's going on. But other than Gizmo, we're all good. It's all quiet and calm. You're doing all right.
Gizmo and TJ were both rescued from the British pet trade, and they've lived at the park with Tom for over 4 years.
TJ's doing really good. He's just taking it all in. I don't know if he's made eye contact with Tom yet or not. He's looking up that direction. Oh, there's Tom, yeah.
Gizmo is beginning to calm down. The team open the slide separating him from the other males, so he can join them in the playroom.
Ready when you are? Yeah, okay.
And TJ makes a beeline for his old friend Tom.
Oh, look, here we go. We're about to have a... Oh, my friend. Oh, Tom, I know. The penny dropped with TJ, and he came up to Tom and realized it was Tom and gave him a hug.
Tom and TJ have been close for years, but their strong friendship could cause problems.
We're gonna have to watch that pair awful close and make sure that Tom doesn't all of a sudden feel a sense of power, that he's got TJ with him, and go and confront Gorillon or any of the other males for that matter.
Gorillon has already established himself as the alpha male, so Tom and TJ really shouldn't push their luck with him. But so far, everything's going well, and it's a fantastic achievement.
As we stand right now, that's it. That's all of our capuchin monkeys at Monkey World. The 88 from Chile, the 2 new arrivals from the pet trade, plus our 4 guys. Everybody's all socialized and together now in 2 groups. We've got the ladies up the hill and all of the boys down here, and there are now 26 boys in here together. I think probably the crux of whether this all hangs together in the next couple of days centers around these 2 right here, Tom and TJ, and whether or not they decide to take on Gorillon.
And later, Alison's worries become a reality when TJ gets overprotective and a quick decision has to be made.
If he has a go at anybody, I want him out immediately.
And Brian shows off his perfect new adult teeth.
It didn't seem to be a painful experience at all, really. The teeth came through very quickly and very easily.
Over in the Bachelor Pad, newcomer Seamus is still getting used to his new group. So far, he's met 11 of the 14 boys. The Bachelors can be a lively bunch, and Seamus has quickly learnt to stay well out of the way when things kick off. But it doesn't look like he's going to be allowed to hide away for long. This is Mojo. He's a sociable chimp who loves to play, and he's decided that the chimp he wants to play with is Seamus. It doesn't look like Seamus wants to play, but Mojo isn't taking no for an answer. It was a different story when Seamus lived in his old group, the nursery. During his 7 years there, he became one of the park's most playful and naughtiest residents, and he could get quite rough with the youngsters. Seamus needed calming down, and life with the Bachelors has certainly achieved this. He's settling in well, but is still wary of the rowdy rabble, and rightly so. But it's important that Seamus makes friends. And in the end, Mojo's persistence pays off. Seamus is, after all, still Seamus. He can never resist playtime for long. Over at the chimp nursery, Cara is checking up on 5-year-old Brian, and she's paying special attention to his new adult teeth.
Good boy, Brian. We're really pleased with the way things are going. When he arrived, he only had the 3 molars and he had problems with solid foods, and we were supplementing him with some soft foods. But now we're a year on, all the incisors are through, and he also has some of the premolars. We're up to 14 so far.
Before coming to Monkey World, Brian was being trained as a beach photographer's prop in Mexico. When Alison and her late husband Jim first met him, they were shocked by what they found.
We've seen it before with many primates where the front teeth get removed, but never all of them. So we were trying to figure out how somebody could have, it would have been a big operation to remove every single tooth in the poor little guy's head.
His owner didn't want him biting the tourists he was being forced to pose with, and Brian was left with only 4 teeth. When Brian arrived at Monkey World, some of these had to be removed because they were broken. The team are delighted to see that Brian's adult teeth have grown through perfectly.
It didn't seem to be a painful experience at all, really. The teeth came through very quickly and very easily. We've been able to keep a very detailed record of when the teeth have come through and how things are progressing, and all the teeth look really healthy, the gums are fine, so we're really pleased.
Soon, Brian will have a full set of healthy adult teeth, and his traumatic past will be firmly behind him. Back with the Capuchin boys, Gizmo has settled down. And TJ is still glued to his old pal Tom. The pair have been close for many years, and TJ isn't keen on sharing Tom. He makes his feelings quite clear to the others. But TJ's jealous behaviour is concerning Alison and the team.
Hang on here. TJ's starting to become overprotective of Tom and is starting to lose the plot a bit. He's now linked up so tight with Tom, he's not letting anybody, any of the other individuals, even approach Tom. So if TJ continues this, we'll have to pull him out. He's threatening people right now.
Fortunately, Tom's not joining in. The team predicted that when he joined a proper Capuchin group, his status would actually drop. And it has. He's now happy to let Gorillon be the alpha male. But TJ has other ideas. He thinks Tom should still be the boss. There's a definite tension in the air as he sizes up Gorillon from across the playroom.
There's a big thing happening with Tom, TJ, and Gorillon now. And Gorillon, I think, realizes all of a sudden that Tom has backup because keeps walking in and going,
Gorillon makes the first move and approaches TJ. But feeling confident with Tom by his side, TJ starts using threatening gestures.
See, look. Nobody's allowed to get near Tom now. Not keen on this. No, he's going. I think we should have him out. I think he's about to start a fight. Look at him, he's just desperate to start a fight.
It looks like this introduction could turn nasty, so Alison decides they're going to have to step in quickly.
Okay, do you guys want to see if you can get either, whether it's bananas, Tom will come over for a banana, TJ will come with him.
Unfortunately, having all 26 male capuchins integrated has only lasted 10 minutes. TJ's been separated, and the team are going to have to decide on his future. At Monkey World, in the orangutan enclosure, Amy is keeping an eye on the youngsters who may soon have a new playmate. Amy is now several months pregnant, but there is concern, as she's proved in the past that she's not a natural mother. She's had 4 babies at the park, but only one survived, her son Gordon, and he had to be hand-reared because she rejected him at birth. But recently, Amy seems to have started to take an interest in playing mum and has been paying a lot of attention to Kai, the current baby of the group. So, over in the office, the primate care staff are discussing whether Amy might have finally got what it takes to raise a baby this time around.
Do we still think that she's gonna be the same old, and abandon the baby?
I don't know, she's very friendly with Kai, to the point where Xiao is actually getting quite annoyed with her, and they're almost arguing over it.
I mean, obviously give her that chance. Really, really, really give her that chance. But,
Okay, and then otherwise it'll fall down to primate care staff, and that we need to then sit down and discuss any nursery situations and have that prepared and ready for the date.
Every effort is being made so that Amy will hopefully bond with her infant when it's born. In the orangutan bedrooms, keeper Penny has already started working with her to get her used to having her nipples touched, which is what will happen when the baby feeds.
I'm just putting a little bit of pressure, okay, good girl, on her nipples, just to see and make sure she's quite happy for us to actually manipulate them, and that kind of thing, because obviously with the baby, it's going to be pulling on her nipples, and it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable, so I'm just trying to get her used to that, really.
But if she doesn't tolerate the baby feeding directly from her, the team could use a breast pump to express Amy's milk and feed the baby separately. Whichever way she chooses, Amy still needs to build up her tolerance.
People that have had babies know that your breasts do become quite sensitive, so this is another way of desensitising that, getting her used to people fiddling around, and of course the food reward is a great incentive, particularly with Amy because she's so food orientated. Good girl.
At the moment, Amy seems perfectly comfortable with Penny touching her. So Leanne Bates, who's visiting from the US to help with behaviour training, has come up with a plan that involves a practice baby.
Very experimental. We don't know how she's going to initially react to it and whether or not this will actually be a very good substitute when the real baby shows up. But it's something that's similar looking, and with the puppet, you could actually kind of control hand movements that might simulate a more alive subject. And what we're really looking for, I think the most important thing, is that she is non-aggressive to it.
Penny begins simple steps to get Amy used to the puppet. And although Amy seems unfazed by the fluffy toy, her eyes are saying otherwise.
The eyes.
The eyes.
The eyes. She's just the way she's looking at it, she's not... I think she's happy with it, it's just she's giving it the evil eye, which could mean she might possibly try with I don't pay attention, good girl, to try and snipe it from me. She's just got that look.
Amy seems to be getting used to the toy touching her, so the next stage is for the puppet baby to be put near her nipple.
Good girl. Obviously, the best thing we can all wish for is for her to actually accept the baby. It will be brilliant if she does that, but if it doesn't, we've got a couple of scenarios we can follow through.
They will continue with this training every day right up until the birth.
Okay, good girl.
Coming up, training of a different sort, when the chimps get their teeth cleaned.
But obviously we have to be careful because they don't know not to spit out the toothpaste.
Next door with the chimpanzees, the alpha male Paddy is trying his best to relax. But one of the chimps in his troop is about to wreck his plans for the afternoon. Gamber. Gamber is confident, ambitious, and always getting up to mischief. And today, he's clearly done something to annoy Buster. Just like humans, chimps can fall out over the smallest things, even old friends like Gamber and Buster. And Buster is determined to let everyone know about it. Even though Buster's 28 years old, he's not acting in a very grown-up fashion. He just keeps getting more and more upset. This is the moment where maybe Paddy should step in. But no, he's determined not to let Gamber and Buster spoil his relaxation. Buster is desperate for someone, anyone, to come to his rescue, but it looks like nobody cares. And even when he gets reassurance from the boss, he still can't give up the argument. Eventually, Buster goes too far and bites Gamber. That's it. Paddy's afternoon is well and truly spoilt, and it's time to put the boys in their place. And now the boss has spoken, the squabbling pair quickly back down, and in typical chimp style, they make up as if nothing ever happened. Across the park in Hananya's chimp group, peace and quiet is also the order of the day. A grooming session with the alpha male has started, and everyone seems keen to get involved. It's a great way of relaxing and bonding, and it's also how the chimps establish their hierarchy. The more important you are, the more pampering you receive. So, with Hananya being swamped from head to toe, it's clear who's in charge. But while grooming is a very important part of chimpanzee social life, inside Hananya's house, Kara is busy dealing with the side effects.
We have a culture in the whole of Hananya's group, really, that unfortunately when they groom each other, they actually have a habit of also removing some of the hairs. Simon's probably one of our most prolific groomers, and he tends to get some hairs stuck in his teeth. And so we sought advice from the dentist, and he said that we could gently try and remove the hairs with a toothbrush periodically. You can see it's quite a controlled action. It's just removing the hairs that have become trapped in the gums.
It's important that the hairs are removed because they can cause the gums to become irritated and infected. In the past, the chimps have had to be sedated so the dentist could remove the trapped hairs. But it's a big procedure, and anaesthetics can be dangerous. So for the keepers and chimps alike, teeth cleaning training has proved very popular.
There's definitely a trick, and the dentist said to use quite a hard toothbrush and a very controlled, gentle action, because obviously we don't want to cause any irritation. We use a tiny amount of toothpaste just because we found actually the frothiness stops it from being so uncomfortable. But obviously we have to be careful because they don't know not to spit out the toothpaste. They seem to like the mint and orange juice mix.
Simon gets an orange juice drink as a reward for being cooperative, but it wasn't easy getting him used to the toothbrush.
It was actually quite a slow process. Obviously, their first reaction is to want to grab the toothbrush, which happened quite a few times in the early days. But now he's really, really good. He's quite used to it. He definitely enjoys the sessions. And you can work away for 20 minutes on Simon's teeth and he'll cooperate. When he's had enough, he just wanders off and we'll go back to it another day.
So, whilst Simon is happily allowing Cara to give his teeth a really good clean, Hananya is outside enjoying his alpha male privileges. But if too much grooming carries on, the next visitors for Cara's oral hygiene surgery could be lining up. Next time on Monkey Life. Alpha male Hananya is becoming violent. The team make a big decision for the safety of his group.
We're going to actually remove the very tips of Hananya's canine teeth. The ones that not just cut the skin, but cut deep and down through muscles.
Chimps Simon and Eveline have a swing-off, but who will win? And the park has seen 6 woolly monkey births, but is getting ready for the next. Paquita is pregnant.
We are able to touch her stomach and check her over, and it's not just puppy fat and too many bananas, she is pregnant.
This is Monkey World in Dorset, the largest ape and monkey rescue centre on the planet. Today on Monkey Life, alpha male Hananya is becoming violent, so the team make a big decision for the safety of his group.
We're going to actually remove the very tips of Hananya's canine teeth. The ones that not just cut the skin, but cut deep and down through muscles.
Chimps Simon and Eveline compete to see who is the biggest swinger in town. And the park has seen 5 woolly monkey births, but is getting ready for the next. Paquita is pregnant.
We are able to touch her stomach and check her over, and it's not just puppy fat and too many bananas, she is pregnant.
It's a quiet morning over in Hananya's chimp enclosure. The alpha male has been separated from his group. Last week, Hananya was introduced to youngsters Ben and Pip, who recently left the nursery to join his group. But the meeting didn't quite go according to plan. Hananya immediately attacked, and Ben was bitten, resulting in a nasty wound to his arm. At only 14 years old, Hananya is a young leader, and it shows. He's often immature and unpredictable, so the staff have had to think long and hard about the safety of his group.
What we're concerned about is that Hananya's group actually turns into Lord of the Flies, and Hananya runs amok, stomping and slapping people because he can, and because there's nobody in that group to stop him or to tell him no. For us, the issue is we've got Ben and Pip that have just moved into this group, and we've got Rodders and Ash next door in the nursery group who really are approaching the time when they should graduate from the nursery group as well. But, you know, it just terrifies us, the thought of putting the 2 little ones in with Hananya right now because he is so fully armed.
It's extremely unlikely that Hananya will calm down anytime soon, as he's still trying to prove his alpha male status to the group. So today, the team have decided to take urgent action that will benefit the whole troop.
What we're doing today is we're gonna actually remove the very tips of Hananya's canine teeth. So those 4 teeth in the front that are really super long and dagger sharp, and the ones that not just cut the skin, but cut deep and down through muscles.
The park have successfully used this technique before with another alpha male, Butch. But with Hananya, it's still not a decision they take lightly.
Weighing up the costs and the benefits, for the welfare of the whole group, we think it's the right thing to do. Hananya will not miss the tips of his teeth. Perhaps more importantly, the rest of his troop won't miss the tips of his teeth either.
Removing the tips of canine teeth is a minor surgical operation, but the alpha male will have to be anaesthetised, something that's normally done with a dart and a blowpipe. But this time, wildlife vet John and the team will try out a new technique. Over the last year, keepers Cara and Kate have been training Hananya's group to accept injections from them directly. So far, other than training, the chimps have been injected with flu and tetanus vaccine. But today, for the first time, Cara is going to try and inject Hananya with anaesthetic. It's never been done before with this group, and no one knows how he's going to react, or even if it'll work.
The keepers who work with Hananya tell me that they think it's possible to inject him with a small volume. So we're going to use very high-strength drugs, as opposed to the weaker drugs we normally use in a dart. Give the keepers a chance just to hand inject him, because that's a more secure delivery. Also, he'll get less upset, because the moment I show him a blowpipe, a pistol or whatever, he's going to get very upset, which is never good for an anaesthetic induction. So if we can get away with a smooth, calm, quiet hand inject by people he knows, so much the better.
And obviously he's stressed at the moment because he knows something's going on, and we've never tried to hand inject him in a stressful situation. But the conditioning may be effective enough that overrides the stress, and he just offers his shoulder. If he does, I've got a chance.
Because this is the first time Cara has injected an animal with anaesthetic, she's anxious too.
Getting nervous?
There's no pressure there.
In the past, Hananya has been a bit nervous when it comes to being injected. He's not very keen on needles. So Hananya's nervous, Cara's nervous, and a temperamental 63-kilo male doesn't like injections. It's a tense time for everyone, and Cara's going it alone. Later, will Cara manage to give Hananya the anaesthetic?
Let's just wait and see now. So, yeah, it will be really great if this works out.
And youngsters Ben and Pip meet their new bodyguard, Cherry. Back at Hananya's group, with the boss away, the chimps are finding other ways to entertain themselves in the sunshine. And for 14-year-old Simon, this can mean only one thing: swinging. And there's nothing better than swinging in front of a captive audience. Each enclosure at the park has been specifically designed to encourage chimps to behave as they would in their natural environment. In the wild, chimps spend much of their time high up in the trees, sleeping and foraging for food. They have incredible balancing skills, and their long arms and strong grip helps them swing from branch to branch with ease. Ever since he was a youngster, Simon has loved taking full advantage of the frames and ropes in his enclosure. The other chimps are well used to watching his aerial displays, and they are pretty impressive. But not to everybody. Eveline is a dab hand with a rope too. She's good, but Simon's determined to prove he's better. It's time for a swing-off. And Eveline's opening gambit is a fast-paced spin. Simon responds with an inverse arm flop. It's a strong comeback, but will the judges be impressed? And Simon's making excellent use of the apparatus to create a bungee for extra bounce. But there's only so much swinging you can do, and frankly, Evelyn's got better things to do with her time. Which is news to Simon. What better is there to do with your time than swinging? Especially when you are the undisputed winner of the big swing-off. Meanwhile, over in Hananya's bedroom, the team are still waiting to see if Cara has managed to get close enough to inject Hananya with the anaesthetic.
Yes?
And it's looking good.
Excellent.
Did it bend right at the end?
Let's have a look at it.
I didn't see anything.
Can I look at
out.
it?
But it's...
Most. There's a tiddly bit. Well, that should be enough.
Hananya is a large adult male chimp, so the team need to ensure he's totally anaesthetised before trying to move him.
Well, Hananya's obviously laying on his back now and he seems to be asleep. So we'll check if he is.
Hananya will be taken to the park's on-site hospital, where dental surgeon Peter Cortez will perform the operation.
Right. As far as I'm concerned,
Hananya's canine teeth are around an inch long and extremely sharp. Peter will need to put them in line with the other teeth and remove around half of each canine. Although this seems rather traumatic, it is painless, straightforward surgery.
As you can see, we have to cut a considerable amount of tooth off, but the pulp is exposed. The pulp down there is the nerve and the blood vessels inside the tooth. So can't leave it like that because the tooth is going to get infected that way. So what we're going to do is root fill it, because if we leave it, that's going to be very, 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 very painful. These are the bits that we've actually taken off.
Removing the tips of Hananya's teeth won't affect his position as alpha male or make any difference to his everyday life.
Now, he doesn't need those canines for anything in terms of defence or eating or display or anything like that at all. It'll make no difference to him. We don't forget, we're not removing his teeth, he's still got them, they're just a bit more blunt. But it might make a difference to the other chimps. All we're doing is tipping the balance a little bit. We're removing the tips of his canines so he can't inflict such severe wounds on other members of the group.
If Hananya didn't have his canines removed, they would have to consider taking him out of the group.
I mean, looking ahead long term, unless his behaviour changed a lot, you know, you'd have to consider taking him out of that group and putting him either with a like-minded yob or keep him on his own. That's not very good welfare.
There are 3 established groups of adult chimps living at Monkey World, and introducing new members is always a challenge, as youngsters Ben and Pip found out when they moved from the nursery into Hananya's group. Because the meeting with Hananya went so badly, today, with Hananya out of the way, Animal Director Jeremy has decided to try another approach. He's introducing the pair to high-ranking female Cherry. Cherry's actually Pip's mum, but they haven't seen each other for 6 years, so it's unlikely that they'll recognise one another. However, Jeremy's hoping that if the youngsters can get Cherry on side, she'll protect them when they next meet Hananya. But it's not going to be easy winning her over. She's a feisty, dominant female.
Generally with Cherry, she does over-the-top demonstrating that she's the big, you know, the big I am. She's in charge, and you know, she's she's a bit of a terrorist.
When Cherry enters the bedroom and meets the group, Ben and Pip hang back nervously on the floor, unsure of their new visitor. As expected, Cherry immediately asserts her dominance over the other females, but so far this is completely normal chimp behaviour. Although Cherry probably doesn't recognise her daughter, the pair do have very similar characteristics, and Pip is fearless when it comes to strangers, just like her mum. She immediately approaches Cherry, whilst Ben stays well back.
Pip needs to learn that she's only a little girl and be a little bit more subordinate. She's always straight in there, you know, and just like her mother. And she hasn't earned that like her mother has. You know, she's not there yet. I think Ben's a lot more sensible than Pip, because Pip is just far too full on. But I'm sure when she's had one or two slapping, hopefully the penny will drop. But there again, she is her mother's daughter, so who knows?
And it's not long before Cherry decides to put Pip in her place and show her who's boss. Luckily, Pip gets away with a harmless slap.
The biggest competition to an individual will be a member of the same sex. So Ben will be focused on by Hananya, and equally Cherry will focus on Pip because that's her competition. So, you know, what we see here is an example of that, and, you know, and a very good example. The thing is, well, when she has made her final decision and you are OK, then she gets over it and we all get on with a normal life.
So it looks like Jeremy's plan has worked. Cherry seems to have accepted Ben and Pip and will hopefully protect Ben from Hananya if he targets him again in the future. Later, woolly monkey Paquita feels the strains of pregnancy.
When she's swinging, she actually puts her hand in the small of her back, just like a pregnant human often does.
Over in the park's hospital, dentist Peter Cortez is removing the tips of Hananya's canine teeth to stop him injuring Ben and Pip and any other members of his group in the future. Although this looks rather drastic, it's actually a very minor procedure.
We're now in the canal. There you are. This is the nerves and the blood vessels. And that's what, you know, that's what people call the nerve. That is the nerve in the tooth. Once we got the pulp removed, there's no nerve blood vessels in there, so there's no pain at all. Now we've got that out, we can clean it really thoroughly. And as you can see, there's no bleeding anymore. And that's an empty hole. Of course, we can't leave it like this, and we have to disinfect it, which we're doing now.
The procedure Hananya is having is exactly the same as root canal surgery in a human. The hole is plugged, and then a large filling added.
So now you've got a solid fill all the way from the cutout made right to the tip of the root, so nothing can get in from either end.
Hananya won't need any painkillers when he comes round from the sedation, as the nerves supplying the teeth in the root canals have all been removed.
These fillings and the root fillings will last him the rest of his life. I'm totally confident about that.
Hananya will be taken back to his house to recover, and other than having a slight headache from the anaesthetic, he'll be pain-free and back with his troop in no time. Over at Paddy's chimp troop, youngster Eddie is enjoying quality time with her alpha male dad, Paddy. Since the arrival of her little brother Bart 16 months ago, Eddie's mum Susie has been spending all her time looking after him, and Eddie's being ignored. If there's one thing Eddie needs, it's attention. So with Susie busy, she's looking to Dad to provide it for her. In the wild, alpha males usually leave childcare duties to the females, who see to their food, protection and welfare. But Paddy and Eddie have had a particularly close relationship since she was a baby. Unlike Ben and Pip, who were rejected by their parents, Eddie was the first baby to successfully grow up within one of the chimp families at the park, and she benefited from a secure family environment. She was always the centre of attention. In fact, she was spoilt rotten. Mum Susie let her do what she wanted, when she wanted. And she's always had alpha male dad Paddy wrapped around her little finger. She could even steal food from right under his nose. And being the big softy that he is, he's happy to spend time messing about in the water with her. Even if it will take him a while to dry off. Down at the woolly monkey enclosure, Keeper Holly's checking up on one of their newest additions to the group.
Good girl, Paquita. Good girl.
A year ago, female Paquita arrived at Monkey World from Twycross Zoo. And she was introduced to male Levar's group. Monkey World is one of 3 animal parks and rescue centres across the UK who take part in an international endangered species breeding programme. They work together and often swap primates like Paquita between parks to avoid inbreeding.
The reason she moved is because in the wild, woolly monkey females would leave their related family groups to move off to new unrelated groups so that they'd be able to breed without a risk of interbreeding with any male relatives. In the wild, that happens naturally, but in captivity, we have to simulate that.
And the good news is that it seems to have worked.
As you can see, she's looking quite chunky, and we think the breeding programme will be very happy because Paquita's pregnant. Paquita's very sweet, she's very friendly. She's also knows her own mind, and she's very greedy with her food. So when she first started to put on weight, we were a bit concerned that she was simply stealing other woolies' food. But now it's become fairly apparent by how she's carrying her weight and just how big her belly is that it's not just puppy fat and too many bananas. She is pregnant.
This will be the 6th woolly monkey to be born at Monkey World, which is fantastic news as they are notoriously difficult to breed in captivity, and some often need a helping hand. Staff have hand-reared 3 babies over the years, but they hope that Paquita will be able to care for her new baby without intervention. But with a 5-month gestation period, the new mum has still got a while to get used to the joys of pregnancy.
She's coping very well. She's had a little bit of trouble with her hormones. She's been a little bit stroppy and a little bit grumpy. We've noticed she's feeling a little bit more tired, moving around. And the other day we actually noticed her when she's swinging, she actually puts her hand in the small of her back, just like a pregnant human often does. And while it looks quite sweet, you do feel for her that she's starting to feel a bit uncomfortable. And as the weather gets warmer, I imagine she'll start to feel very uncomfortable. But by our best estimations, she hasn't got too long to go now.
Next time, the Bachelor Boys get to grips with a tree that's invaded their enclosure. Baby Bart gets all grown up and goes it alone. And the Chilean Capucins experience the outside world for the first time in their lives.
They've just taken everything in their stride. They've been amazing, and they sit in the sun and they eat the grass, they forage through the grass as if this is what they've done all their life. All their natural behaviours are so strong still, and it's like, yeah, we can do that, we can do this, bring it on.
This is Monkey World in Dorset, the largest ape and monkey rescue centre on the planet. Today on Monkey Life, baby Bart gets all grown up and goes it alone. The fearless Bachelor Boys get frightened by a tree. And the Chilean Capucins experience the outside world for the first time in their lives.
They've just taken everything in their stride. They've been amazing, and they sit in the sun and they eat the grass, they forage through the grass as if this is what they've done all their life. All their natural behaviours are so strong still, and it's like, yeah, we can do that, we can do this, bring it on.
It's a wet start to the day at Monkey World. Last night there was a big storm, and this morning, while the apes brave the rain, the primate care staff and maintenance team are dealing with the aftermath. But they have a plan.
We're always looking for new things to put in the chimp enclosures, just to try and make things a bit different for them. And luckily, a big oak tree come down, so we're actually going to take that this morning and put it in their enclosure. That actually gives them a lot of new things to do. Not only does it change up so everything's already in there, so it gives them different handholds to move around on, but they can also eat the browse on it, and you do their usual chimp thing of probably just smashing it up. So hopefully they'll have a lot of fun with it.
It's the bachelor chimps who are getting this treat today. They're used to playing with branches and logs, but this is 20 feet worth of oak tree. It calls for a forklift truck and brute force to put into place. But chimps are 6 times stronger than a man, and some of the bachelor chimps are the biggest in the park. So the team need to make sure the chimps can't use the tree as an escape route out of their enclosure.
Aim is to make it completely secure, just so they can't move it around too much. We don't want to drag it against the fence, either to short out the electric wires or to give them a platform to climb up over the overhang. So we want to make sure everything's nice and tight and safe before we give them any access to it.
The position of this new toy must be chimp-proof, and more importantly, bachelor chimp-proof. Later, the bachelor chimps might look large and powerful, but they seem scared and confused by the new toy that's appeared in their home. And chimp youngsters Ben and Pip rely on a new friend to help them brave the outside world.
Arthur was really a positive influence today. He was very encouraging towards Ben and Pip. He kept popping back to the playroom and checking on them and trying to encourage them outside.
This morning, it's also a busy start for the 94 capuchin monkeys. At the moment, all the girls live together on one side of the park and the boys on the other. And just when they all seem settled with their living arrangements, it's all change. The girls are swapping homes with the boys.
There we go. 57 females down here, 11 to go, and then on to the boys.
Most of the capuchins were rescued from a life of solitary confinement in a laboratory. But here at the park, they've been integrated into 2 groups. At first, it was thought that the boys would find it harder to settle into group life, so they were given the bigger house. But it's actually the girls who've been more troublesome.
Is that we've had a couple of incidents up in the lodge, and there's 68 female capuchins, you know, and it's a big group, and it was decided, you know, we would like to give the females a lot more space. So we've got a bit of a conveyor belt going today. We've got 3 teams getting them from A to B for us.
The team want to ensure the capuchins spend the rest of their lives being as happy as possible. And although this move is a mighty task for the park, it'll be worth it for the capuchins.
The final one.
And that's it then.
Everybody's in, everyone's safe.
94 capuchins moved in one day.
Went very well, very smoothly.
What a day.
Not bad teamwork all round. I think we're going to be feeling it for a bit, but he's the final lad. There you go, mate.
But the male-female swap is not quite as simple as it seems. One of the park's original capuchin boys, TJ, is currently homeless.
Ready when you are, yeah.
A few days ago, he was introduced to all the other male capuchins, but it didn't go well. The team were worried he was going to start a fight, so he had to be removed.
He's used to being, like, #1 in his group, very spoilt young male. So to suddenly have, like, 27 other males to deal with, he wasn't really coping, and he was just lashing out.
The team has made the radical decision to let TJ live with the 68 girls. He'll be the only boy in the group, and while this may sound appealing to some, he'll most definitely have his work cut out.
The girls do a lot of politics, and they could, like, use him and abuse him, so it is actually, he's got quite a hard job, I think, controlling those females and not
causing any trouble, not having too many biases, because that will only upset these other girls. Yeah, he's going to have to use his brain cells to be able to cope with all those girls.
Back with the Bachelor chimps, Jimmy is the first to spy the new addition to their enclosure. His hooting alerts the other boys. There's a strange tree in their midst. And for once, the other chimps seem strangely quiet and confused. They might look big and tough, but these boys are complete scaredy cats whenever something new appears in their home. And after all, the tree's very big. Jimmy's hoping it might just go away. But Butch is the alpha male. This is his domain, so he tries to show the tree who's boss. Unfortunately for Butch, it might just be the tree who's boss. And there's something else that's bothering the boys. The oak is lying exactly where their breakfast is usually scattered. There's definitely something weird going on. A big tree and no breakfast. The boys are going to have to think very hard about this. Unfortunately, thinking isn't one of the things the Bachelor Boys do best. In the wild, when fruit is scarce, the chimps also strip the leaves and bark off trees as another good food source. And back at the park, because they can't yet find their usual breakfast, the boys have finally toughened up and decided to get stuck into the tree. And now they're eating, they should be happy. But no, it's raining, and they're all getting wet. But if it's a choice between eating or keeping dry, the Bachelor Boys will always choose eating. And when at last they twig that they can use the tree to keep themselves dry while they eat, they finally find that mysterious, hidden breakfast. Over at Hananya's house, it's been a few weeks since youngsters Ben and Pip moved in from the chimp nursery. They've been introduced to quite a few of their new family, and now it's time for their next step, the big outdoors. Ben and Pip are both really nervous, so they won't be going out alone. A few friends will join them, and one in particular should make them feel much more relaxed.
We've picked Arthur because we wanted a boy out there, and actually he's got quite a good relationship with Ben. They've been playing a lot, and so hopefully that will give Ben the confidence. And then Valerie and Marjolaine really have been good animals since day one. They were introduced very early on. They've been in and out of the introduction group, and they're very confident animals, they're very playful animals, so hopefully again they'll encourage Ben and Pip to come outside and to have the confidence to come outside.
Ben and Pip were born at the park and were hand-reared by the primate care staff. And since they were toddlers, they've never been confident when it comes to the outdoors. In fact, they didn't venture out in the nursery until they were 5 years old. And today, it seems history is going to repeat itself. The 6-year-olds are feeling far from brave. This outside space is much bigger than they're used to. And even Arthur, sitting by the door trying to coax them out, isn't working. But if Ben and Pip's best friend has anything to do with it, he'll make sure that the pair come out to play soon.
We were so pleased with Arthur, really, because he was very encouraging towards Ben and Pip. He kept popping back to the playroom and checking on them and trying to encourage them outside. Arthur was really a positive influence today, and hopefully he will stay in that introduction group now and continue to encourage Ben and Pip until they feel they're ready to come outside.
At Monkey World, in Paddy's group, it's lunchtime. On the menu today are tasty chopped-up vegetables scattered throughout the enclosure. This allows the troop of 20 to forage in the same way as they would in the wild. And it's a great learning experience for the baby of the group, Bart. Mum Susie is teaching him what to eat and where to find it. At 16 months old, he's still clinging to her chest at all times. But this afternoon, for the very first time outside, he's keen to strike out on his own and let go of his mum. And with toddler-like curiosity, Bart's quick to copy his mum and starts to enjoy eating al fresco. In the wild, chimp infants learn all they need to know about adult life by watching and copying those around them. But it may be some time before Bart can match his dad's huge appetite. Paddy, as alpha male, takes advantage of his position and has grabbed as much as he can. So, before Bart's eyes get bigger than his belly, Susie steps in. And, like all good mums, she knows when he's eaten enough for one day. Back with the female Capucins, they're settling in well after swapping homes with the boys this morning. And the staff are confident they're ready for their next challenge. Since the Capucins arrived, the park's maintenance team have been busy preparing their outside enclosures. For some of the Capucins, it'll be the first time they've ever stepped foot outside, and for others, the largest space they will have ever seen. Now complete, it's time for the girls to go outside. But nobody quite knows how they will react when the slide is opened. A quick scan of the enormous area, and one of the girls makes her move. A few brave steps in the outside world is enough for now, and she heads back in to tell the others. And it's not long before they're all checking out their new surroundings. Some of these Capucins had been kept in small cages at the research lab for nearly 20 years. But despite this, they embrace their newfound freedom and are soon off exploring. And this is the final step in their rehabilitation.
Sometimes you forget what they've been through, and every now and again you'll see one that still does the stereotypic pacing or the biting or the head spinning, or if you do something a little odd, some of them will just suddenly start to spin, it just clicks. But then it goes away again, and then you'll see them out in the sun lying there with their friend grooming them. They've just taken everything in their stride. They've been amazing, and they sit in the sun and they eat the grass, they forage through the grass as if this is what they've done all their life. It's like, yeah, no, we know what to do. All their innate behaviours, all their natural behaviours are so strong still, and it's like, yeah, we can do that, we can do this, bring it on. So it's quite special.
For the care staff, it's a massive success. But now the monkeys are out, will they ever want to come in again? Later, the Capuchin girls know each other, but can the staff identify each of these 88 monkeys?
That's... oh, no, that's Kelly.
I haven't seen Letitia. Is she in this group, or did she go back to Debbie's group?
At Hananya's chimp troop, the newest residents, Ben and Pip, have finally plucked up the courage to venture outside too. They've had access to their enclosure all day, but it's only now that curiosity has got the better of them. They've decided to brave it and explore their new home. But they're sticking close together just in case. When Pip's nerves get the better of her, she clings onto anything she can for reassurance. Blankets, wood wool, more blankets, even her brother. But Ben is suddenly feeling brave. He wants to get out there and explore. So it's down to good old Arthur to offer Pip some reassurance. Ben, though, might be regretting his decision when Cookie doesn't exactly give him the warmest of welcomes and chases him across the enclosure. Straight into Pip's arms for a much-needed cuddle. That's definitely enough new experiences for one day. This pair is heading indoors for some rest and relaxation. In the female capuchin enclosure, there are some interesting developments. With all this extra room they've now got outside and inside, something strange has happened. The capuchins have divided themselves up according to their fur colour.
The most amazing thing was within 24 hours we had a natural split. You went in and in one playroom was all the dark ladies and in the other playroom was all the brown ladies. It was a bit of a balance. It was like 20 over here and 60 odd over here. But it was so strange, and if one of the brown ladies would try and cross over to the black playroom, they were all territorial and they'd push her out. And the black ladies would come out of their playroom and into the back bedrooms, and all the brown ones would run scared. Decided, OK, this is our natural split. We have and it's their split, which is the best thing. It's what they've decided, and it's quite special that they've actually done it on the species level. So the black species ones are in the right-hand playroom, and all the brown ones are in the left-hand playroom.
The natural split has helped reduce the tension between the ladies, but the group's youngsters can't decide which group they'd rather be in.
But what we found is all the juveniles, all the 4 or 5-year-olds, they're quite tough and playful, and they've all gone on the dark side, and they're very, very happy over there. So over the last few days, we've been allowing individuals to kind of choose. Are you comfortable this way? Are you comfortable that way? And you do see very quickly if they're happy or not.
At Monkey World, the primate care staff know each individual ape and monkey. But getting to know each and every one of the 88 capuchins was always going to be a challenge.
I get confused on the little ones the most.
Yeah, I still get confused. And the Lionel, Leonie, Pride. There's about 4 in this group and 4 or 5 in the other group, and they're so similar looking that you do have to double check.
In the lab, very few had names, but they were easily identified by a numbered tattoo on their stomach or inner thigh.
So this is 26 and 1, 2, 6.
But here at Monkey World, this method is causing problems.
They're fluffy. We keep looking to try and see the tattoos, but we can't see them very clearly on a lot of the girls, especially some of the older ladies who are very fluffy and big. But literally on day 1, I felt the need to give them names because I can't remember numbers. Numbers were just flying through my head. And also, it's more personal. You kind of need to give them names.
There's Kate, Becky and Tallulah that are similar, but Tallulah's the one with the short tail. And I think we just were desperate to call a female capuchin Tallulah.
Some of the capuchins had distinctive looks, so they could easily be named.
Lots of names at the start came very, very quickly, and some of them stuck, like Amy, who has huge, big black hair after Amy Winehouse. We had Jane, G.I. Jane, with a short crew cut. We had Sooty, who has black little nostrils as if she's been running around in the soot.
But for the other girls, they had to rely on other ways to distinguish them.
Like, we had one individual called Philippa, who's got quite a narrow face with eyes quite close together.
The problem was there were 3 capuchins who looked identical, so they were all accidentally given the same name of Philippa.
And it just took time and time until suddenly something clicks. And now we know that Philippa and the second Philippa is now Tia. Tia is slightly bigger, and she has a larger head at the top. It's actually their personality and their behaviours that used to help us distinguish, even though they looked exactly the same.
The 22 boys were named quickly, but the 68 females have taken a lot longer.
It's taken us literally 2 months to give them names and have names that we can remember and we're happy to ID. And actually, every time we go down to the house, we just test each other to make sure that who I think's Molly is who everyone else thinks Molly. But the boys was much, much easier, just because there was so few of them in comparison, and there isn't that many mirror images. Like in the girls, we've got 3 who look like Oyster, we've got 2 who look like Katie, we've got 3 Philippas, we've got 4 Pirates, who all look the same. It was much harder than we thought.
And even though everyone has had their new names for a while, there's still confusion about who is who.
That's... oh, no, that's Kelly. That's Pippa.
Next time on Monkey Life. there's a morning sing-off at the park. Golden-cheeked gibbon Zoey introduces a very rare new addition to her family.
If you can just see Zoey sitting in there very quietly, a very small blonde lump clinging onto her belly. She's had a little baby, and we're just over the moon.
And Capuchin Phoebe needs surgery. There was tension amongst the females and a fight broke out.
It's just part of the process of them knowing how to interact with each other, establishing the hierarchy, and yeah, unfortunately, it happens.
This is Monkey World in Dorset, the largest ape and monkey rescue centre on the planet. Today on Monkey Life, there's a morning sing-off at the park. Golden-cheeked gibbon Zoey introduces a very rare new addition to her family.
If you can just see Zoey sitting in there very quietly with a very small blonde lump clinging onto her belly. She's had a little baby, and we're just over the moon.
And, following a fight amongst the female capuchins, Phoebe needs surgery.
It's just part of the process of them knowing how to interact with each other, establishing the hierarchy, and yeah, unfortunately, it happens.
It's morning at Monkey World, and most of the 246 residents are just waking up. This is the time when the first of the park's primates start to communicate with one another. And the gibbons start to sing. There are 5 different species of gibbon living here, and every morning they start the day by singing to claim their territory. High up in the tree canopy are Siamang gibbons Sam, Sage, and their son, Onion. Siamang gibbons have a throat sac, which they can inflate to about the size of their head. This sac makes their calls so loud they can carry for over a mile. And it's certainly loud enough to wake some of the sleepier inhabitants of the park. These early morning sing-alongs reinforce the bond between mum and dad, and tells other groups of gibbons how many there are in the family, the sexes and ages. But here at the park, their message is simple. This is our territory, keep out. And at this volume, this early in the morning, it looks like the rest of the primates are getting the message. But over in the gibbon house, golden-cheeked gibbons Jake and Zoey have another reason to shout. Early this morning, Zoey gave birth.
I got a phone call from Jeremy saying, "You better come in, Wendy. She's had it." And I said, "Sorry?" Zoey. So up in the basket, if you can just see Zoey sitting in there very quietly, very calmly and very tired with a very small blonde lump clinging onto her belly. She's had a little baby, and we're just over the moon.
In the wild, golden-cheeked gibbons are now classified as endangered. And with gibbon births incredibly rare in captivity, this is a real success for the park and the species.
This is our second birth here. We don't mind if it's a boy or a girl or whatever. It's a golden cheek baby gibbon, and it's another life, and it's wonderful.
But while the baby is holding on tightly to mum, it'll be some time before the care staff will be able to see if it's a boy or a girl.
Actually very difficult for us at any early stage to get a good enough look to see whether it's male or female. So that will come with time, which of course means the name will come with time as well. You can't name it Bob and turn out to be a girl.
Although Wendy is keen to find out the sex of the baby, what's more crucial is whether Zoey will accept it and bring it up herself. Zoey was poached from her own mother and family in the wild and knows very little about parenting.
The most important thing that we need to know is that Zoe's actually looking after her baby. I'd like her to be more attentive. You know, if he starts to sort of lean backwards, I'd like to see that hand come in quicker. But she's getting there, so that's a good thing. But also I want to see the baby suckle. That's the most important thing of all, is see that baby latched onto the nipple and the little cheek sucking away. But more important than that, we need to see a swallow action, so we know that milk's going into little one.
Wendy will have to watch and wait to see if she needs to step in and help Zoey bring up this valuable new addition to the park. Coming up, the chimps show that no matter what time it is, they've always got something to say.
Even though the chimpanzee's primary sense is vision, they do rely upon vocal communication quite a bit. Can tell sort of what's going on from a distance.
And Phoebe's undergoing surgery following a capuchin fight.
The wound looks fairly deep. It's a bite wound, and bite wounds are always contaminated and likely to cause infection.
The gibbons might start off being the loudest primates in the park, but by mid-morning, it's the chimps who make the most noise. And every sound they make has a meaning. From excitement to fear and every emotion in between. They just never seem to stop talking.
With the chimpanzees, they do have a language of their own. They do rely upon vocal communication quite a bit. You can hear whether people are upset and throwing tantrums. We can tell if actually there's something alarming in the enclosure and we need to go have a look. You can also tell if there's a full-on punch-up and fight and something's going down because the intent of the voice. You can tell sort of what's going on from a distance. That's not the case with all of our primates here.
Over on the other side of the park, even though it's snack time and the orangs are always excited about food, you'd never know it because they just don't vocalise their enthusiasm.
The orangutans, even though they are great apes and are meant to be sort of more similar to humans and chimpanzees than other species of primate, the orangutans, their communication is just completely different. In fact, they're almost silent. In the wild, they're semi-solitary. There isn't this complex sort of interaction and group sort of dynamics going on with the orangutan, so there's really no need to communicate like that.
In the wild, when male orangs do vocalise, it's known as a long call. And there are only 2 occasions when this happens.
He can use the throat sac and inflate it, almost like the Siamang gibbons, and then project this long call, letting other males know that that's their territory, and also alerting the females that the male's in town.
But here at the park, males Tuan and Gordon don't use this call because they live separately. And they don't need to call for females because they've got them right beside them. So there's really no point in making a lot of noise. Or any noise at all, really.
Day to day, orangutans really don't communicate a whole lot, and there isn't a lot going on there. It's probably more eye lifts and facial expressions. The chimpanzees were loud and out there and talking all of the time.
Over with the Capuchin boys, and the latest recruit, Caesar, is enjoying his new home. He's settling in perfectly. A few weeks ago, Alison and Jeremy rehomed Caesar and female Phoebe from a home in Hertfordshire. Caesar's made new friends in his group, and today he's hanging out with Felipe. But Phoebe's move hasn't gone as smoothly. This morning she suffered a nasty bite wound to her leg. And park vet Femke has had to put her under anaesthetic to assess the damage. It's a large wound and needs immediate treatment.
We'll check her whole body to see if she's got any other wounds, and also check her body condition, her heart, her lungs, give her a general health check.
With 94 Capuchins living together at Monkey World, there are bound to be character clashes, and fights are inevitable. Phoebe's injury is probably a result of her struggling to find her place in the group. Bite wounds can penetrate tendons and muscles, and there's a risk of infection which could result in serious complications for Phoebe.
The wound looks fairly deep, but as far as I can see right now, she hasn't damaged any tendons, only some muscle damage and the skin, obviously. But yeah, there will be some scarring in the muscle. It's part of the process of them knowing how to interact with each other, establishing the hierarchy, and yeah, unfortunately, it happens. But we do what we can to prevent it and to heal them as good as we can. Probably an incisive.
To ensure the wound heals as quickly as possible, Femke sets about carefully cleaning the cut. And Jeremy gives her an antibiotic jab to prevent further infection.
Because it's a bite wound, and bite wounds are always contaminated and likely to cause infection, so they'll need some antibiotics to help their immune system to get over them.
But the team has to work quickly. Keeping small monkeys under anaesthetic for long periods of time can be dangerous. So Femke gets straight down to stitching up the wound. In Monkey World's vet room, Capuchin Phoebe has been in surgery for over an hour, having a bite wound on her leg stitched up. The operation is nearly over. Vet Femke is just making sure her stitches stay in place.
I'm going to put some super glue on it as well, because monkeys sometimes take their stitches out. And you can't really bandage them either, because they will take the bandage out.
Ordinary super glue is a safe and effective way of binding stitches. And while the team wait for the glue to dry, Jeremy takes the opportunity to insert an identification microchip.
Got so many capuchins now that the keepers have trouble sometimes telling them apart. So at least when they have a microchip, when they are anaesthetized, we can make sure which individual it is.
This is the first time the team has had a chance to give Phoebe a thorough health check since she arrived at the park. And Femke has suddenly discovered something wrong with her teeth.
Look at this one, Jeremy.
Long operations on small monkeys can be a risky business.
Shall I remove it now, or shall I leave it? Her canine is badly damaged and infected, so I have to remove it.
Femke decides to take the tooth out now, rather than operating again at a later date. Like all wild animals, the primates are very good at hiding any discomfort. But it looks like Phoebe may have been suffering with this rotten tooth for a long time.
She must have had a bit of pain from this, indeed.
Quite often, tooth decay can be a result of a poor sugary diet. But in this case, Femke suspects there could be another cause.
Yeah, sometimes they knock their tooth and they break it. And then if the root is exposed, it can become infected and cause a nasty tooth infection. It's so badly damaged that it's quite easy to take it out. Because if you take a healthy canine out, it's quite difficult, will take you a long time. But if it's damaged and rotten, then it'll come out easily, as you can see.
The tooth has been removed and Femke is happy that the rest are all healthy. Now it's time for Phoebe to wake up.
Hello, do you think you're going to sleep this out? You can't.
But she's been under anaesthetic for longer than expected and she's not coming round.
Take your time. Phoebe, it's time now. Good one. Oh, Phoebe.
Eventually, to everyone's relief, she wakes up.
When she's fully awake and able to climb and eat and defend herself, she'll go back in with the others. Because we don't want to take her out too long. Because she has to meet them again and make friends and be part of the establishing of the hierarchy.
So, animal manager Jeremy returns Phoebe back to the bedrooms, where soon she can have another bash at finding her place in the group. Later, in the chimp nursery, Lulu has fun with the youngsters. And keeper Wendy checks to see if new mum Zoe's getting into the swing of being a parent.
She's a little bit awkward with her movement still. She doesn't quite know where to put knees and elbows and feet and stuff.
It's lunchtime, and in Hananya's chimp group, they're getting hot potatoes. Treats like these are a real favourite, so to make sure that everyone gets their fair share, the keepers scatter them throughout the enclosure. But this doesn't always work. There's a strict hierarchy in chimp society, and it's not long before those at the top get the most. And those at the bottom need to work hard to get any at all. And it's pretty obvious from his haul that alpha male Hananya is right at the top. It's just a shame he's only got 2 hands and 1 mouth. Not long ago, Hananya was hesitant at mealtimes and would often end up with nothing. His group would pinch the goodies from right under the boss's nose. But at last, Hananya is asserting his position at the top of the group. And he's determined to finish this lot quickly so he can go in for seconds. Hot spuds are a really good meal for the chimps as the weather grows colder. But not everyone has been lucky enough to get one, so some loiter with intent, hoping someone might share. But sharing isn't something the chimps do very well. And now Hananya's ready for seconds, he's going to have to beg with the rest of them. And high-ranking Cherry's potato looks good. It looks really good. Really, really good. Clearly too good to share with Hananya, who is reduced to foraging for leftovers with everyone else. It's a shame he hasn't realised that the only reason there aren't any left is because he ate most of them in the first place. Back over at the Gibbon house, it's been 12 hours since Zoey, the golden-cheeked gibbon, gave birth. And she's just decided to venture outside with her new baby for the very first time.
Zoe's doing extremely well, very happy with her. She's a little bit awkward with her movement still. She doesn't quite know where to put knees and elbows and feet and stuff, but she's doing very, very well. Little one's been suckling, seen it on the nipple 3 times, so he's doing... I keep calling it he, we don't know yet. Stop it, it. The little bit is doing really, really well.
This is only the second golden-cheeked gibbon to be born at the park, so Wendy's keeping a close eye on the new parents.
It's difficult to tell whether she's overly protective or hiding the little one. She always used to sit with her arms on her elbows and sort of this grumpy look that Zoey has, that she's famous for. But It's quite a good thing. It's keeping baby warm, especially when she's outside. It's a lovely day, but it's a bit blowy. You've only just come out of the womb. It's going to feel a bit nippy. But she's looking after it very well. She's just got to learn how to move with him now. A little unsteady, but very attentive when the baby cries or whatever. She's, oh yes, okay, tends to it. What do I do? I'll sit down. I'm not moving. Something she'll get used to with time.
It's still early days, but Zoey seems to be showing all the signs of becoming a good mother. Over at the chimp nursery, for the first time in a very long time, foster mum Sally is relaxing. With only 3 toddlers to look after, she's never had it so easy. At one time, the nursery was the busiest, loudest and most chaotic place in the park, with a tired Sally looking after all the youngsters. And her second-in-command, Lulu, being teased and harassed by Seamus and his gang, which made Lulu very grumpy. But now its rowdier members have grown up and moved out. And the atmosphere today is completely different. It's given 2.5-year-old Rodders an opportunity to prove that Lulu has a fun side too. Lulu's only got one arm, which doesn't stop her behaving and playing like a normal chimp. But even though things are much calmer now, she still has her grumpy moments. But it seems that Rodders' charms are finally winning her over. And who can blame her? In fact, it looks like she's got quite a soft spot for the little lad. And even though Lulu is 13 years older than Rodders, she shows him she can certainly play with the best of them. Next time on Monkey Life.
Hey, little man.
Woolly monkey Paolo goes in with his new family for the first time.
He's ready to go. He's eating solid food. Look at the size of the belly hanging out there. It's, you know, it's just enormous.
Chimp Eddie has fun and games with her baby brother Bart. And emotions run high when Mad Max the marmoset arrives at the park.
But that's what I'm saying to you.
I don't want to fall out with it. I'm only here for him. You know what I'm saying?